Hey everybody, it's your commish, Bennett, with the final regular season fantasy football recap of the 2011 ForrestLand MishMash Fantasy Football League. The playoffs are set. Congratulations to the four GMs whose teams are in the playoffs. We have last year's runner-up, the Slim Aussies, with the second seed facing the inaugural, I think it's 2008 champ, Ray Finkel's Kicking Academy. And then the number one seed Virginia Vikings, who won 2 years ago, facing off against the Hartford Whalers. So it should be interesting playoffs. In a minute, we'll talk about how everyone got there. Just a reminder that I'm having a little fantasy football viewing party this coming Sunday, the 18th, at my house. There'll be chips, dip, all that kind of stuff, and of course football. Anyone who's in town is invited. Obviously, Gallo and Art are both out of state, so I don't expect them to show up. But everyone else is welcome to come to my house and watch some football on the big screen, and also track our fantasy football playoffs throughout the day. So that's this Sunday, the 18th, at my house, 201 Lewis Road, New Britain, Connecticut, and all day long. As long as football's on, you're welcome to stop by. Quick word before we get to the recap of last week. Also, the big stories going into the playoffs are two things in my mind. One is the injuries. I don't think any one team has been immune to injuries this year. I know the Slim Aussies lost Matt Forte, Andre Johnson. The Whalers just lost Greg Jennings for a couple weeks. Quarterbacks have been going down left and right. So, good job really for everyone in the league cobbling together a team all year. That's sort of the other story, is just the fact that there haven't been that many just fantasy studs that you just plop in your lineup and leave all year. There's been so many up and down people, so many injuries, and so much fluctuation from week to week that every GM in the league really had to scramble all year to put a team together. And obviously some did better than others, but I think everyone did put their best effort in all year, and some people just had worse luck than others, and there we have it. So let's talk about the recap for last week, and the big game was really Ray Finkel's Kicking Academy. Giant game, 215 points to defeat the Slim Aussies, who only had 166, which actually was third in the league in scoring. So luckily for my team that it wasn't the playoffs, because I would have been pissed if I lost scoring the third most points in the league for the week. So, it turns out that Ray Finkel needed the win to get in the playoffs. That, coupled with third and Oolong losing, the 2008 champ is in the playoffs. And just a monster day. I mean, 0 points from Mark Ingram, and yet still scored well over 200. Breeze and Romo did very well. The two opposing running backs in the garbage Monday night game got 20 and 21 points respectively. So, just goes to show fantasy, real life implications are sometimes irrelevant to fantasy football. And that was just icing on the cake, because Finkel already had the win going into Monday night. Mark Ingram with no points, of course, that could have hurt. But Deshaun Jackson coming back and having a respectable day. And then Marquez Colston, and also, of course, Rob Gronkowski, who may be the fantasy MVP. Him along with Aaron Rodgers are probably front runners for the fantasy football MVP for the season. So nice job, Ray Finkel. They get the third seed, and they go to 8-6 with a nice win over the Slim Aussies, who of course had already clinched a playoff spot. Moving on, we have last year's champ dethroned. Third and Oolong falls to You Got Beat by a Girl, 155-139. Third and Long looked pretty dangerous. They may have peaked just a little early. Just couldn't scratch out enough points, especially from the quarterbacks. Last year's fantasy football Super Bowl MVP, Josh Freeman, just been really inconsistent all year. And him and Matt Moore were doing well for third and Oolong for a while, but I guess their luck finally ran out. And of course, the Dolphins at home is actually worse than the Dolphins on the road. So Matt Moore only gets 4 points, Josh Freeman 9. Ray Rice did have a nice day, but not enough. For third and Oolong, they're out of the playoffs. Last year's champ, they miss it by a half game. And You Got Beat by a Girl gets to 500 for the season. So Both female participants who were in the playoffs last year, they're both gone this year. So it's going to be an all testosterone final, guaranteed. Other games with implications. We had the Hartford Whalers who turned out didn't need the win because of Third and Oolong's loss, which was nice because they only got 122 points and lost to the Toy Soldiers. Again, like I've been saying all year, I think the Whalers are probably them and Finkel's. I'll get to the preview later, but I think them and Finkel's Kicking Academy may be the two favorites going into the playoffs. I think the Whalers have been, with the quarterbacks, Cam Newton and Tom Brady, have been, one of the most dangerous teams all year. So they just get single digits from almost everyone, other than Brady, Newton, and Laurent Robinson, who's been amazing for the Whalers. That's been a great find for the Cowboys, Laurent Robinson. But everyone else had single digits. So the Whalers, they lose, but they still make the playoffs, and they're at 8-6. I believe they have the 4th seed, and the Toy Soldiers improving to 5-9, staying ahead of Dad Drew and the Idaho Darth Taters for staying out of last place in the MASH division.